Hey everyone, I'm Larissa J and welcome. And today's video has been a topic that has been weighing heavy on my heart. This video is for parents, anybody who has any sort of guardianship over kids. I wanted to make sure that you all have this information because I know as a parent what it's like. It is busy. If you're married, you have your responsibilities within your marriage. You have to take care of your kids. You have to take care of your home, cook, clean, make sure everybody has food to eat, and you have to work, and it is busy. And honestly, you can just get so exhausted and you don't have time to do anything else. So I know it is hard sometimes to stay up on the information and the things that are taking place in the world. I want to make sure that you hear about this stuff and that you know as well, so you know how to pray, so that you know how to protect your kids, so that you can protect your family. This first article, leaked photos and videos show LGBT clubs after hours drag show at Pennsylvania high school. Okay, first of all, if you are like me and you're a believer, you already know what the Bible says about these alternative lifestyles, how God feels about alternative lifestyles, right? So we're going to set that aside because we already know that's not of God. But let's sit here and let's focus on the fact that it says Pennsylvania high school. Can someone explain why the LGBT club is having an after hours drag show? A drag show. That is completely inappropriate. Let's look at what the article says. It says, a school district in Lancaster, Pennsylvania is under fire for a drag show hosted by a teacher after hours on school property. Okay, so after hours, you have to understand, and if you have kids, you know, within the public school, there are usually after school clubs, after school programs that teachers usually host. I used to do some as well. When I was in the classroom, teachers host these programs, and generally in most schools, you can pick what you're passionate about. You can pick what you want to talk about, what you want to teach. And after school, you'll get your kids who sign up for that club, and then you'll teach them. So I did an art club one year, and so I had a group of kids. They weren't necessarily my students. In fact, none of those kids were my students. They were just kids in the school, and I taught them art, and I taught them, helped them draw, and we did different things within that club, and it was after school. So most everybody else is gone by that point, and it's you and any other teachers hosting a club with those kids. That's how it works, right? So here in this Pennsylvania high school, it looks like it was a similar situation, and this teacher decided they were going to host a drag show for their LGBT after school club is what this is looking like. And the issue one is the fact that there's an LGBT club. Let's start there. That's a problem. Two, there's a problem with the fact that this teacher decided that it would be a great, bright idea to host a drag show for these high school students. And looking here at this article, it's saying that they were dressed scantily clad. They were drag queens who were performing lewd dance moves that would be inappropriate for most adults, and yet they're doing it in front of high school students. Let me remind you, in case you don't have any high schoolers, high school students generally are between the ages of 14 and 18 years old. 14-year-olds do not need to be exposed to this type of content. Now, I'm not going to show you the images and the videos that are here because they are very, very inappropriate. But from what I gathered from this article and what I saw, they were dressed extremely inappropriately. You could see like butt cheeks and just things that should not be seen. And it's really sickening because the fact that the teacher who hosted this felt that it was okay. Like, even if this wasn't, we weren't talking about LGBT, just in a normal heterosexual situation, it's still inappropriate to sexualize children. It's still inappropriate to expose them to that level of sexuality at such an early age. That is not why they come to school. School is supposed to be to educate children. I mean, we're talking reading, writing, math, right? A lot of kids nowadays can't even do that. They can't even read and write fluently. They can't even do multiplication facts fluently, and yet these teachers are now taking the opportunity to use the classroom as a platform to push these agendas. But we're not going to stop there. Let's keep going. Like I said, we're not going to look at all the hoopla and foolery because it's too much. It's very sickening. Okay, so this is one of those throwback articles where this happened last year. New York school teaches first graders about masturbation. And of course, the parents are enraged. First graders, right? So we're talking 6-year-olds. Some of them may be turning 7. And this teacher decides that it's okay to play this video for them. Okay, so it says it's a private school. It's not even public school. This is not even public school, y'all. A private school in Manhattan, New York, has received complaints from parents about the first graders being taught sex education lessons that included masturbation. Pause. 6-year-olds do not need sex education. Now, of course, you as a parent do need to teach your child about certain things and how it's not okay for people to touch them and all of that. That's the parent's job. But that is not the school's job. Masturbation is not a topic for a 6-year-old. But this lady decides that she's going to play the video. She played a video. The video, I feel, is mistitled. It's called Help Kids Learn That Bodies Are Private. This video, I feel, was mistitled and deceptive, probably intentionally, because teachers, not her, but an innocent teacher could find that video and see that title and say, you know, I'm going to play this for my class. And that's the segue in to start indoctrinating these kids into sexualization. Now, of course, that's not what happened here. In this case, this lady decided that she was going to play the video, and this video was very explicit, very inappropriate. It talked about erections and masturbation. It was kids who were having a conversation with their teacher, and the teacher was explaining what an erection is and how it's completely inappropriate. Okay, it is heartbreaking that they are really pushing this content, and some parents are unaware of what's going on. I mean, imagine sending your child, your 6-year-old, you're still a baby, honey, sending them to school and having no idea that their teacher is playing a video that is teaching them to do something, one, that is completely inappropriate, but also contrary to your belief system and what you're teaching them. And then parents get their kids at home and they wonder why they're wild and crazy, because they're being exposed to things that they should not be exposed to, some things that you may not even be aware of, right? What I'm noticing now is that there is an agenda. There are multiple agendas that are being pushed, and they're really to indoctrinate your kids. You have to understand, and you know, if you have kids are like sponges. They are so moldable and pliable. And you are able to literally mold them into whoever you want them to be. And these people with these agendas, they're aware of that. And so they're like, okay, we have to get them while they're young. Let's push, alternative lifestyles. Let's push, CRT, which we'll talk about in a minute. Let's push, all these things that are not even appropriate psychologically for these kids. Because if you start them when they're early, when they get older, they've been rooted in that mentality, and now that's who they are. And that's why it's so important that parents, you slow down and take that time to protect your kids. That's the most important thing. No job, no money, no amount of money is worth the well-being of your child. Let's keep going.
The Unified School District, inclusive curriculum lessons. There's collections, the LGBTQ heritage, gender inclusive biology, educate and celebrate. There's activism, the youth advocate toolkit, preschool, grade school, and secondary resources.
Well, that courage. Within that, it does say a racist woke agenda, but if you notice, there also is a lot of that LGBTQ curriculum that is embedded in lessons. I mean, that is curriculum that teachers can go click on and pull up those lessons to teach their kids. And you're not in the classroom with your kid. So that's why it is really, really important to, one, be aware, be vigilant, and pay attention for any signs that you might notice, like, something's not right, because this is happening. And it's horrible and it's sad, but it's happening. Let's keep going.
Because we are teaching online, we have most of our materials online, and us teachers share the same platforms. And the teacher that taught ethnic studies at my site, she actually had the same platform that I was using, and I was able to see all of her lessons. And it was shocking what I saw. It is dividing America based on race, and it's hyper race focus. So whenever you see hyper race focus, you're going to see racism along with it. So, for example, they have this term called hegemony in critical race theory, which means that America was built to only help the white man, and everything else, all of the institutions that were put up we're put in there to benefit the white man and to oppress everybody else. And so our students are learning about these concepts. We hear about critical race theory in our schools. Well, here it is right in front of you.
So with this, if children are being taught about, and this is not even, it's not even accurate. They're being taught inaccurate information. They're being taught lies, and this is all that they're hearing, especially if the parent is unaware and not negating that and not correcting that thinking. The kids are going to grow up thinking that this is accurate information and that this is what our history was and that this is what it is. And they're going to grow up with those racist beliefs, and it's going to start a generation where kids grow up with these racist belief systems already feeling some type of way about the other race or other nationalities. And that is what they want. It's all a divisive plan. It is all to divide. And that's why it's important that you do your due diligence in making sure you know what's going on with your kid and what's being taught and what they're, learning, because this is not okay. This is not okay at all. And we see even, it started out with, just within the adult world, we've, watched the news and we know what's happened in the past year or two regarding race and just this big push for racism, and you should feel this way, and if you're this nationality you should feel this way. But now they're pushing it on the kids. It's going to be a lot easier to push it on kids, like I said, because they're like sponges and they're so moldable and flexible, and they can just brainwash them if you allow them to. So please don't allow them to.
Took it down during the pandemic because it made her uncomfortable. In this video, Pitson says a student asked why there was no flag recently. She says she tells the student she would try to find it, but then admits she's lying. Parents in the area say they're shocked by what the teacher says next.
Okay, I want to pause for just a moment. There's a few things that are really off, but the first thing that I notice are those colors. You can tell there's already an agenda there. There's already a push for a certain belief system and lifestyle. Second of all, why is she laughing? Like, what is so funny? Now, I understand this video was probably edited in a way. I don't know if it was her editing or someone else's editing. It says it's on TikTok, but she's laughing. This is not a laughing matter. This is not funny. I don't know if you caught that, but in the beginning, she was saying that she doesn't have the American flag in her classroom.
In the meantime, I tell this kid, we do have a flag in the class that you can pledge your allegiance to. And he looks around and goes, oh, that one?
Not funny. That's not funny. But again, that is pushing those ideologies and pushing those belief systems off on your kids. To have a conversation with a teacher, that's going to be impactful for many children because of the way that they feel about their teachers. They generally have some sort of admiration for many of their teachers, and so to have a teacher who is just so open about that and pushing that ideology of, hey, I'm an adult, this is my belief system. I took down the American flag, but we're going to keep up this flag right here, and you can choose to pledge allegiance to that flag, even though that might not be your belief system. That's what I'm pushing on you. And that's not okay. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Please give it a thumbs up and share to all the parents and guardians that this information needs to be put out there. Like I said, I understand that we are busy and sometimes it's just hard to stay on top of what's going on. But if you have any sort of responsibility over children, you have to be in the know. In my next video, we're going to talk about shows that are indoctrinating your kids. So you want to make sure that you stay tuned for that one. Thank you so much for watching. Stay vigilant. Keep your kids safe because God has entrusted them to you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.